Hello and welcome. This is Mouse Gunner, and we're back with some more Prison Architect. Returning to the Gangland prison, and violence has been happening quite a bit lately, which is unfortunate. Of course, as a matter of fact, we had a teacher die recently, and I prefer to curb that if I can. Now, I am going to have a decent amount of intake here because I have started construction on the new cell block, but unfortunately I can't really afford a whole lot right now. I've got a lot of loans and other things going on, and probably the money I'm going to get from this big intake I'm going to use to pay off like maybe half the loans. We'll have to see. But right now, as you can see, daily cash flow is at a trickle. We barely have any bank balance at all. So I'm going to have to watch out for that. All right, that guy's reading a book. That's nice. Matter of fact, how's our literacy need? Okay, it's definitely gone down, so the library has eventually done its work. So, need-wise, I think we're pretty much in a good place. Let's see. Is there anything that... I mean, comfort is a thing, but I don't know if I'm going to really do anything about that. Recreation, you could argue. We could change, but... It's not a major concern. At least, it's not one for me. Probably should get a guard patrol. Let me take a look at those. The guard patrols. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw it out like this. And we're going to have this patrol. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a dog. Oh, there already is a dog on this route, and I guess it's not being filled. And we'll put another one on that route. And hopefully they actually run the route. I'm not 100% sure if they'll run this route now. Oh, suddenly we have a bunch of daily cash flow. I don't know where that came from. But it's helpful. Alright, let me see if I can get some beds out of this. Beds are fairly expensive, though. So, 1, 2. And during the night, we shouldn't have any programs running, so we'll just be getting straight cash, hopefully. And I'll slowly build up. Oh, I do need to deploy a guard here. I'm just going to make it be one guard for now. As there aren't that many prisoners over here. Alright, we can afford another bed, so why not? And another one. Now, when day comes around and, ooh, we can get another prisoner here. Hoping we didn't lose anybody. Or have anybody escape. That would make me unhappy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn up the intake to 15 now. So we have a decent amount of cash when the intake finally does come. And we're one bed away from finishing off this cell here. But then, of course, I need a toilet and all the jail doors. So it's going to be fairly expensive. You know, I have a lot of workers milling around. I think I'm going to start letting some go. So, how many workers do we have overall? We've got 19. I'm going to fire 4. And I'm going to fire people that are tired. That makes everything easier for me. And I need to fire 2 more. I guess it doesn't really matter. You and you. All right. Get a little bit extra cash. I think 15 workers will be fine for the place that our prison is in right now. I also don't have any metal detectors in this area, although I could hook one up. It wouldn't take much effort to do so. that the mail? Yep, there it is. Okay. There's our part of our intake. So I'm going to go ahead, go to the loans. Why isn't it letting me... Do I have to actually have 10,000? Well, we'll see in a second here as the rest of the intake shows up. Oh, did we already get the cash for that? All right, I'm going to need to evaluate the prisoners here. Oh, that guy's practically gonna... Oh, no, he already was released. Right. Nobody really scary. I haven't been looking at what their sentences are for, because assaulting an officer is pretty much automatic. All right, this guy's arson. Usually the arsonists end up in max sec. Assaulting an officer, this is automatic. He's got a nice long prison sentence. Oh, I also have to check. None of these guys look like they're in gangs. Okay. 11 years. I'm not going to worry about him. Okay. All right. Oh, well, this guy assaulting an officer, that's automatic. Even if it is only a few years that he'll be in prison. All right. All right, that's the biggest bit of intake we've had in a long time. Now it's time to turn the intake right back on down. And I will hire a couple guards, but not many more than that. Maybe just 2, actually. So 1, 2. That's it. I don't feel like we can afford much else. Probably those new guards are going to need tasers and stuff, but I honestly am not going to run that training program. Alright, well, we're going to lose some of our money. Oh, you know what? Let's get the cells built, though. For sure. That way we can increase cash flow. Then we'll get the jail doors in here. Again, kind of getting the minimum stuff I'd like. Again, the drains aren't really necessary, but I put them in the other cells, so why not? And then we can do some more intake tomorrow. And I'm going to go ahead and make these cells as well, so that when the doors get installed, they'll be propped open. Okay. More violence in the school. Well, it looks like stationing a guard in here, though, prevented the violence from turning into a death, though. So that was definitely a good call. These guys just don't want to behave themselves in the school. Alright, well, while the reform programs are going on, we're going to be losing money, but hopefully we can turn that around and start making money here. Jeez, we need more janitors. Is it janitors that take care of this stuff or not? Find out. No, it's the cooks. We need more cooks. Okay. I feel like I can only afford 2 more there. Okay. Alright, I suddenly have Oh, that's because we just did a bunch of cells. Okay, so I need 10 intake. But even still, that shouldn't have... I must have had some releases or something. Alright, well, we're going to have a fair amount of intake here then. With tomorrow. And hopefully with that intake, I'll get enough money to pay off the loans. I just find it interesting that when I hit the decrease button here, it doesn't do anything. Is there no way to pay off loans once you get them? It wouldn't surprise me. Considering the way a lot of the other things in this game work sometimes. Alright. Oh, we actually have one of the beds produced. That's good. I just wish somebody would go through the one school program. I have it open. And it's costing me money, honestly. I probably should shake down the prison tonight when they're in bed. Although, you do it when they're in bed, that kind of pisses them off, doesn't it? I figure we do it at night when they're in bed because it's a little bit easier to do that when they're... I mean, that way we can get away without having those guards deployed. Alright, looks like we can take one more intake here. It's kind of a slow grind to get this cell block finished. I mean, I've got a lot of the hard stuff done. But I'd like to pay off the loan if I can. Now, if I get over 10,000 and it still doesn't let me pay off the loan, I'm going to start questioning what's going on there and wondering about it. Maybe I don't have enough sinks. Maybe that's a problem. Well, you know, I am going to set up another kitchen, and I wonder if I should do that now. But it looks like the big problem I have is I don't have enough sinks to take care of the backlog of dishes I've got. Alright, well. Not sure I can do anything about that right now. Outside of dismantling this area. But I just don't have cash, the cash on hand, I think, to set up another kitchen. But that's the game plan eventually down the road. I could also expand the size of the kitchen over here. The more acceptable one. But I mean, they're getting some of the dishes cleaned up, just not all of it. Alright, we're going to have our intake pretty soon. And hopefully when we do, we'll be able to pay off this loan. I should get over 5,000 for the intake. And then... Alright. Possible tunnel there. Alright, looks like we got our intake. Alright, let's see about paying off this loan. There we go. Yeah, you have to pay it all off at once, even though it's incremental to get it. That's weird. That shouldn't be the way it is, but... Alright, well, whatever. We paid off the loan. That's the important bit. And we have cash left over, so I figure... expand the cell block. And I think the cheapest area to focus on would be down here because I already have utilities hooked up for it. So it shouldn't take much work to get this done. But that alone cost me a lot of money. Alright, I need to go through the prisoners. So we got a gangster here. I'm going to have to see which gang he's in, but I'll check that later. Assaulting an officer, automatic. Okay. We've got robbery, nothing serious. We've got another gang member, so I'm going to have to see what gang that guy's in. Assaulting an officer is automatic. Okay. Joy riding. False imprisonment. Video game piracy. Oh, you've got quite a bit of, yeah, okay. Max sec. And then, okay, that's it. So, the gang members, let's see which one's there. So they're both green, and green is... I do not know. I believe green was max sec, but now it looks like the red gang is what color, though? Red gang, red gang, red gang. Are you medium sec or not? I have to find a red gang member. Okay, that's fine. As long as our two biggest gangs are not together, I think that's good. Alright. So... Oh, I need to turn these guys into max sec, though, right? Because they're both from the green gang. Okay, well, let's take a look at the prisoner stats here. So we have 75 to 83. Again, we're getting close to that 50-50 number. All right. Yeah, this kitchen is getting overwhelmed, it looks like. I mean, we have people with jobs in here to help out, but... Okay, so this has been completed. I do have a fair amount of cash on hand, so let's first get the beds in. I guess I can have time tick while I do this. Then we need the toilets. And then the drains. So this one cell block is kind of a hazard as far as fire risk goes, if it ever happens, because there's no sprinkler system in here. It made the rest of the prison kind of fireproofed, at least the cell blocks. And that should be good. So now we're going to need to go to the cell and do that. But I'm going to be within, like, spitting distance of the 200 that we need for that one grant. So I'm kind of bummed with that. Still only one superior bed, it looks like. And still nobody has gone into the one class yet, which I have set up. We have plenty of people enrolling in this. And hopefully they don't try and kill each other this time. I mean, maybe because we have a lot of these guys going through the foundation program, we'll eventually get them to the next level, I'm hoping. As a matter of fact, I can take a look at that. Programs. Yeah, we're getting more. Well, no, you know what? I don't think this number has really changed at all, even though we have a lot of people in the current classes. Oh, I never set up the water. Gonna have to do that. And I don't have the funds to do it. Interesting. Well, the loans are paid off, so... I guess I can take the intake and hope that it gets addressed before they show up. So where are we at? We have... Okay, so we need 8 to fill up. Oop, that's a little too many. Although we might have more paroled and getting out before then. Alright, we've had a little bit of a violent-free day, so that's nice. What are you up to? Throwing up everywhere? Ugh, what is this mess? Alright. I'm thinking about looking at the regime here. Or maybe making more work periods than I currently have. Yes, I believe I'm gonna do that. So, I'm gonna cut into... Alright, let's see. Work. We're gonna have less free time for the normal sec guys, but more free time for the max sec guys. And then, what I'm gonna do is come into the programs, and edit the schedule, and these guys, let's see when that was. Regime. So we've got 9 to 11. I want to make sure that they can attend the one... This one. Now, the problem is, if we have MaxSec guys, they can't attend the general education because of where it is. But hopefully this will help with the kitchen. Maybe we'll have more people working in the kitchen. And also... I'm hoping that it will also increase the chance that we'll get somebody going through the general education program. I can check that, though. Still 0 interested, so that's a bummer. But I'm just hoping that we'll eventually be able to figure things out. But cash is a real problem for this prison. I mean, maybe I do need to pack some prisoners in. You know, now that I think about it, what I could do is, rather than having this an entirely medium sec prison, one thing I could do is I could fill this cell block up with... Yeah, but see, that would take forever. I was thinking I could make this a min sec, medium sec area, and then make them really crammed in there. But I don't know. Not as many medium sec people attend the classes here. Alright, well, cash is eventually going to start being a positive. But I'm feeling like if I'm really going to solve this, I'm going to have to make dorms or something. Like, get the... Oh, well, I think about it. We need 9 intake. So that we can get up to 200. Oh, wow. What was I going to put here? An office? Yeah, I was going to move this guy's office to down here so that I could use this as a kitchen. That was the plan. And I just set this up temporarily as a classroom, just with fingers crossed that we'd be able to get somebody into this education program. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So if I get this cell block finished, probably the next priority is to finish this, and then we'll work on... The problem is with this is getting the foundation how I would want it. without knocking out a wall or something. Oh, there is the violence. I want to see if I can find it on my own, but I am not seeing it. I would think it would be in the cell blocks. I try and go by the sound cue, but it's often hard to figure out from that. Well, nobody died. Oh. Oh, there it is. So this guy's a naughty boy. Yeah, see, that's why I put drains in. I want to take a look at him. He's volatile. Yeah, he just showed that. As a matter of fact, what is his stuff? What do you got? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You have MaxSec written all over you. All right, well, he demolished his bedroom. See, this is why I put sprinkler system in the cells, so that... Oh, we have prisoners in the non-completed cells. What do they think? They can just move into whatever cell they want? That's not how we run this prison. Okay, well. If that guy, you know, the problem is if that guy tries to burn down his cell, I don't have anything here as a safeguard for that. Sprinklers are luckily cheap, so I think he's convinced me that I need to start investing in sprinklers in this area, as there are not any in here. Okay, I was going to do a shakedown. I think it's time. So, let's get on it. Shakedown. Alright. Oh. And I can do 10 intake. Let's get that going. I'm sure the prisoners are going to love this. Getting woken up. Middle of the night. You know, we're going to have the intake, I think, before this gets finished. May have to hire a few guards to make sure the intake happens okay. Alright, we got a little bit of cash there. And I think I will indeed hire some guards here when they show up. As a matter of fact, I might just have to hire one now. Oh, good. We got violence. Alright. Put another guard there. Alright, I'm gonna have to see what happened there. Nobody dead. Oh, that was a mess. Okay. Now we've got... Alright, I didn't really want to have to hire more guards, but here you go. Start getting these guys in. And while I'm thinking about it... I mean, the shakedown's almost over, but I probably could have timed that a little bit better. Okay, you have been selected. You're fine. We do have a gang member. We're gonna have to take a look at him. Robbery, you're fine. Trafficking. A lot of years in prison. I guess we'll MaxSec him. Not everybody in MaxSec has to be a monster. Oh, yay, arsonist. You're gonna be a MaxSec. Another arsonist. Wow, we love arsonists at our prison. Okay, nothing there. And then I have to figure out what gang you're in. Alright, so intelligence. Gangs. You're in the red gang, which is medium sex, so you just go ahead with that. Man. Alright, we've got a few more people left to search. A few more places. Getting the people into the prison very slowly. Why they don't just walk away now? I guess they're shackled. When they're shackled, they really can't move all that well. And we've got a few more things. Alright, well, I guess we can start with the utilities here. So bring that along here. And bring it on up to, let's say, there. And then utilities, I mean the water, I'm going to need to come in here. And then up to here. Okay. And then we can work on the walls here. So danger is still high. I have to keep my eye on that. Guess we can start with these walls. But the cash is really starting to come in here, so I may have to actually see where we got this much cash from. Maybe it was just the intake. Speaking of intake, looks like I can turn that down to 2 now, is where we're at. And continue with the construction. Okay. And it looks like the shakedown is done, so we're good to go. As a matter of fact, I think this is a good point to put a cut in the video. So cash is starting to flow in the prison. We're starting to get the last cell block up and running. The next priority, which I think it needs to happen in short order here, is we need another kitchen. Now, this might be okay as the continued canteen. Otherwise, I put a canteen down here. I kind of would like another canteen, and then this would be our kitchen, and that would serve both canteens, I think. And this one would just serve this one. I think you can deploy things that way. In any case, as I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.